I don't think the office realizes that they have us on mute, that they're on mute.
Hello, can you hear us?
Now we can. Hi, guys.
Cindy.
What's up? It's Mission Control. So welcome to another team meeting. This is going to be a little different from our normal team meetings because Howie's going to be speaking for most of it. We're doing, I'll get into that in a second, but we're doing an ongoing series with the ALC members who will be talking about lead generation.
Lead generation specifically towards listings in this new.
Yeah, so,
environment.
Josh is always hammering home that, business comes from listings, leads, listings, leverage. So we're gonna start talking, do this ongoing series, which we started discussing last week. I just wanted to introduce, I'm Michael, your broker. We have really no one else here on leadership, but we do have Lauren from First American Title and one of our affiliates. Say hi.
Hello there. Can I take a minute? I'll say something. Okay. Afternoon, everybody. So in the vein of prospecting and lead generation, all right, your title company can be your best friend. So there are certain things we're allowed to give you, and then there's certain things we're just simply not allowed to give you, okay? Let's talk about what I can give you, and then let's talk about what I can't give you but know where to get. Right? So lead generation is a humongous umbrella, right? And there's a lot of things under it. So there's Title Toolbox, there's Farm Genie, there's Cole Realty Resources, there's Property Radar, just on and on and on. There's a whole plethora of really, really good systems. So it's like a car. You just have to find what drives best for you, what you're more comfortable with the data, with the money, of course, that you're going to be spending, and kind of marry the two and see which one works best for you. So I know what's out there. I certainly know what I have. And those of you that want are going to get everything that I have. And then when you want to just ratchet it up a little bit and go a little further into prospecting, if it's FSBOs or expireds, there's a certain product, Vulcan 7, I would suggest for you. So depending on what you want to do, how you want to do it, and how hard you're going to hit lead generation, talk to me. I've got some great ideas. Again, I got all the bells and whistles of a big title company, but if I don't have it, I know where to get it. Without lead generation, the lifeblood of this business, you got nothing, I got nothing, you'll go nowhere. So let's talk about it, put some good time and energy into it, and you'll get exactly that out of it. All right.
Cool. Thank you. Thank you, Lauren. And so just a couple of housekeeping stuff to go over. So as you know, LA County, we have the mask mandate. Rhonda.
We do?
Yes. I don't know. Oh, that's right. You've been in Greece. Yeah. So
I've had 3 COVID tests in the past 10 days.
So the office is requiring everybody to wear masks in the office, especially in the public places and in general everywhere. Yeah, open houses. And when you're doing showings with clients, you have to wear masks as well. It's a county order, so not my order to make, but everyone's got to wear a mask.
Everybody who's resisting masks, I'm vaccinated and I got COVID last week. So wear your masks.
Yeah, I've heard many stories of people who are vaccinated with the Moderna. People are like, well, the Pfizer, Johnson & Johnson, they're all getting, what was it?
Who was that talking you said she was
Oh, Janet.
Oh, she got pregnant.
Yeah, so I know people that are getting it. In fact, Veronica wanted staff to all get COVID tests to make sure that, everybody here was good. So negative as of Sunday. So there you go. I want to make sure, those of you that are not using a TC and doing your own opportunities, please make sure you're doing them correctly. There are great videos on YouTube to explain how to do them. But it all starts with, if you're doing a lease, typically you're not hiring a TC for like a lease. So make sure you're choosing the correct transaction type and the opportunity and uploading the correct documents there. split those PDFs into the correct documents so I could review them. The quicker you and the more correct that it's uploaded, the quicker you'll get paid. And so please make sure that does. Your license, make sure if it's expiring soon and you need to take continuing education credits, you're up to date and up to speed on that, because if your license expires, you can't practice real estate, or you can't do any real estate activities where a real estate license is required. Look to see ahead of time. You could do everything online, continuing education. And then if you had to renew your license, do it through e-licensing. What you do is you put in my broker email and it'll just notify me to recertify it. It's pretty easy. Most people do it that way, but make sure you check your expiration date. I've been getting a lot of calls from agents who have lease listings and their landlord wants to deny a tenant. So they want to know what they could potentially say to the landlord that's not going to get them into trouble. And just say that the landlord is denying an application, denying the tenant, prospective tenant based on the application. You don't need to go into detail. I mean, you need to know as real estate agents what the protected classes are, and you can go online to see, and you can't discriminate against, race, color, national origin, religion, sex, familial status, and disability. And in California, you can't discriminate because of the source of income. So, but if it's not enough income for a landlord, that's fine. Or if the FICO scores are not there, or if there's something on the credit report. So just limit your explanation to the landlord's denying it based on the application. Josh wanted me to mention Mega Camp is Monday, August 23rd to Thursday, August 26th. It's in Vegas. It is a satellite version of the one that takes place in Austin. And so Monday night is sort of the welcome reception. Josh will probably be there Monday night. The actual event doesn't start till Tuesday. And tickets are $5.99 and it's on the website. And if you have questions, ask Alex. And when you have a problem, a lot of people like to text me, send me an email. I get so many text messages a day that the question will go unanswered and just to the bottom. So if you've got a question, send me an email. I review all the emails every day until they're answered. Sometimes it takes a little longer than a day, but they do get addressed, and in a text message, they get lost. So that's that. And then lastly, not this week, but next Friday, I'm going to be going on vacation for a week. Right. So you guys are all screwed. No, so Nina Dillon is a broker associate with us. She's also the broker of record for Keller Williams Studio City, and her office is where May's office is by yes, by Cannon Hills on that side now. If you've got general broker questions, she could help you with. And if you have legal questions, Jeff Kahn, who's our lawyer at Spire Law, will be the one who's fielding those. The only thing you need to do is submit a legal intake form, and normally it requires my signature, but you could just fill out the form and send it directly to him and to me, and he'll give you a response pretty quickly. And that's it right now. So without further ado, any questions from the online universe or here about anything broker related or open houses? No one? No one? Cool. Yeah, remember everyone wear masks until we get this thing under control again. So Howie Nichols is a stellar agent with Keller Williams Beverly Hills. Found out we're in the same fraternity, different colleges.
Just a couple of years ago.
One fraternity.
API.
I'm gonna.
Oh, look at you. So he's going to discuss open houses, and how to get leads.
Fantastic. Thanks, Mike.
I'll let you.
So we're starting, thanks, Michael. So the ALC is starting a new sort of set of discussions, starting with today, on considering how hot the market is. This isn't blocking you guys, is it? No, cool. Considering how hot the market is, obviously buyers are always great, but listings are spectacular in regular times, but in this type of market, obviously, they're even more so just because of the opportunities that they afford you. So we're going to be talking about how to get listings in various ways, and today's topic is open houses. I know that some of you are more seasoned agents, some of you are newer agents, so I'm going to just be talking based on my experience, how I view open houses from sort of A to Z on how to get new business. I've been doing this for about 15 years. I run a team here called MS Property Partners. I am a huge fan of open houses. I try to do 2 to 3 a month on Sundays. They're a great opportunity to pick up business. I've had, I've gone into escrow with people the day of an open house. I've gone into escrow with people within a week on another property that I met at an open house. I had a listing appointment last week with a couple that I met literally 6 years ago at one of my open houses and hoping to list their property in September. So sometimes it's a short game, sometimes it's a long game, but open houses are absolutely a way to go and should definitely be part of your lead gen. We're going to focus on Sunday open houses, which are the public open houses. Tuesday brokers are great, and you can absolutely pick up business on Tuesdays as well. But the majority of people that come through on Tuesdays are agents, and they don't need the same level of hand-holding as on a Sunday open house. Those folks do. But you will get regular kind of civilians coming in on Tuesdays as well. So just be on your game, and everything that I'm saying kind of applies to Tuesdays also. So the big question is, why do we do open houses? I mean, why on Sundays from 2 to 5, or when we move the clocks back from 1 to 4, why are we spending 3 hours at this property? I'd rather be with my family. I'd rather be at the beach or at the movies. The answer is we're looking to do business. Our number one goal when we do an open house is to sell the house that day, to find a buyer that day for the house. If it's my listing, I'm looking to find someone to buy it. If I'm sitting it for Michael, I'm trying to find a buyer who comes in, who doesn't have an agent, and who wants to buy that house, and then I'm a part of the deal. Our second goal, though, is to pick up business. Because when you're talking to people at your open houses, once you realize that whoever you're talking to is not interested in that particular house for whatever reason, too big, too small, too much money, wrong location, the bedroom count isn't right, doesn't matter. That's the most exciting time for all of us, because that's when we get to pivot and kind of redirect them into something else that they don't even know about yet, or another house at a different price point or the same price point, but it's an opportunity for you to potentially do business with them. So the question is, how do you know if you should pivot? How do you know kind of when to pivot? Okay, so let's imagine that you're at your open house. The place it's perfect. It's 2 o'clock on a Sunday. The house looks great because of all the staging. It smells great because you've got a candle lit. You've been baking cookies in the kitchen all morning. It sounds great. You've got Michael Bublé playlist going. It's fantastic. 2 o'clock, you're ready to roll. 2:30, no one's come by. 3:30, you've had one person come in. And by 5 o'clock, you realize that you've looked at more cat videos on your phone than you've actually spoken to people because no one's come through. It doesn't matter what your house looks like or smells like or the music that you've got playing sounds like if nobody knows about your open house. So let's take a step back and realize that open houses are more than just the 3 hours that you're there, okay? It's the days before, it's the week before, and the days and the weeks and the months after that actual open house. So let's rewind a bit and go to the week leading up to the open house, which is when you are going to market the crap out of this house. That is a technical real estate term that Michael, our lawyer, taught me. You're going to market the crap out of it from A to Z. You're going to have it on the MLS. If it's your listing, obviously you want to make sure that it says in the MLS that you're open on Sunday from 2 to 5. if you're sitting an open house for me or another agent, you want to just politely remind me or the other agent, hey, can you make sure that the MLS is up to speed? Because you want that information in the MLS as early in the week as possible, so it gets syndicated out to all the other sites, the Redfins, the Trulias and whatnot. So when people are, looking on those sites in their PJs at midnight, planning their weekend, they're gonna know that the house is open. You're gonna send out e-blasts during the week to your sphere, to other agents, to everyone you know, potential buyers, people you met at your previous open house. You're gonna call everybody that you know, you're gonna let them know about the open house. Social media, you're gonna Facebook, Instagram, JDate, wherever you guys are on social media, put it out there, okay? If you have other social media sites that you like, that I don't know about, that other people don't know about, share them. I'm always up for a good, oh, this is a great place. Things pop up all the time on Facebook, like there's a new off-market page, or there's a new coming soon page. I don't hear about them all the time. You might not hear about them all the time. So share it, share the goods. LA Times, if you want to waste your money and put it in the LA Times, go ahead. I say that somewhat sarcastically because I do think it's a waste of money in the LA Times. JJ, back me up on that. But it's a way to show your clients that you're actually doing things. And sometimes we spend money to do that. You definitely want to be in the caravan guide. And then you want to circle door knock. Now, some people love to door knock for their regular lead generation. Other people, the idea of it makes them vomit, which I totally understand. But door knocking for an open house is literally the easiest thing you can do, because you actually have something to talk about. Whereas if you're just door knocking generically, you're hoping that somebody answers the door, and you can say, hey, I'm Howie, if you're looking to buy or sell, and you're the third agent that week that's gone by with nothing to say. But if you have an open house that you're promoting, it's a very easy way to talk to people. It makes things a bit easier. And the other thing you can do is, when you talk to the neighbors around the house, you might want to do something which we've done a couple of times, is if the open house is say from 2 to 5, you can put out door hangers on the neighbors' doors and say, there you go. And you can say, hey, we're having a special open house for the neighbors before the general open house. It gets people excited. They feel like they're special. They're going to come by, that type of thing. So you basically want to just market it in advance. Okay. It's not just the day of. But then when you get to the day before, say on Saturday, now again, I'm saying I do this on Saturday. You can do it on Friday, you can do it whenever you want, but my system is I like to do this sort of the day before, in that I want you to have a go bag, so to speak, because you're going to turn into an open house ninja, and you're going to have all of your stuff in the same place. We're back to COVID time, so you have to have masks, have extra masks for those who don't bring them, have hand sanitizer. If you have a logo for your company, slap it on there and have some hand sanitizers. Have wipes, have anything that you need to sort of make people feel comfortable. Your keys and your codes to the house. If you have a physical key to the house, make sure you know where it is the day before, because there's nothing worse than driving across town on your way to your open house. Oh shit, I forgot the key. Okay, so know where your keys are. If it's a lockbox code or if it's a Supra, know where your Supra key is and put it in a spot, put it in your little go bag so you're ready to roll. If it's a code, if it's a combo, have the code written down somewhere, because if your open house is up in the hills and you think, oh, I'm just going to call Michael when I get there and find out what the code is, you get up in the hills and you have no cell reception. And if you don't have cell reception, you're not calling Michael to get the code to his open house, and then you're not having an open house, and you don't want that to happen. So make sure that you have all that kind of prepared. Another thing is business cards. Make sure you have plenty of them to give out. Go to Office Depot, go to Staples, go wherever. get something to kind of put them in, so they're not just sitting, you know, in a pile on a table. Get creative, make something that is an extension of your personality, or just, you know, I think I've got that, or the thing up in the right-hand corner. You're not going to not sell your house if you don't have your business cards in a holder. It's not what I'm implying, nor are you going to get more money for your house if you have a card holder. But keep in mind that, we'll get into this more in a minute, people that are coming into your open house, they might be neighbors, they might be other people that will eventually be looking to sell their house, and they're checking you out. They're looking at how you conduct yourself and how you carry yourself. So I'd rather be seen as organized and with it, as opposed to, you know, oh, who's that sloppy guy who, if that's how he is at the open house, how is he going to be with other stuff? So it's just not a bad idea to kind of be prepared. Have a lot of pens, because you're going to have people sign in. Pens will die on you. People will walk off with them. You do not want to be penless. Have some Scotch tape, because you're going to need to hang up certain signs, which I'm going to get to in a minute. You're going to need setup sheets. Okay, so this is what everyone's going to ask you for. So if it's my listing, you know, we all know that on the MLS, there's the client version of a listing, and then there's the agent version of the listing. Agent version has the listing agent's information down at the bottom. So if I'm sitting my open house, I'm going to print out a sheet that is the agent version. So it's got my name and info up top, and it will also be at the bottom, so you can't miss it. If I'm sitting in open house, say for Michael, I'm just going to print out the client version, but with my name up at the top. Because when I'm talking to people at the open house, I want them to remember me if we're going to sort of work together, that type of thing. So you definitely want your setup sheets. Have more setup sheets than you think you're going to need. You know, print out 50, 75, 100. I'm not advocating that you waste paper. I'm all about recycling and printing on the back of stuff. So
you can also have like a file on your phone of the PDF with the setup sheet that you could easily just text somebody. So if you-
that's not a bad, yeah, I'm not as smart as Michael. I'm not as technological.
Because you're calling me every Sunday.
Savvy, that's right. But have more than you think you're gonna need, because the other thing is, you might sit that open house the following Sunday. So you can just use the same setup sheets. It doesn't matter what day they were printed out if the price hasn't changed and the information hasn't changed. The next thing, which is the lifeline of your open house, is your sign-in sheet, okay? This is the key. We're gonna get into this deeply. This is the key to having a great open house. If you don't already have one, create a template for yourself. If you have a logo, put your logo up there. Make room for the address and the date. And by that, I mean the address and the date of the open house. Because a week from now, 6 months from now, when you look at this, you want to know when this was, where it was from, and all that type of thing. I personally, I don't care if somebody signs in their address. That's not important to me, but I want their name, I want their phone number, I want their email address. When you make your template, don't make it single spaced with like 80 lines on one page, because it'll be too small for people to fill in. You won't be able to read their information, and it will be a bust. I'd rather you have 10 sheets like this, because you have so many people coming in. Just make it so it's clear. So when they fill it in, it's clear. And then again, once you create the generic file, or the generic template, save it in your file. So next week, a month from now, 3 months from now, when you have a new open house, you just have to print this out, or print out 50 of them and just grab a bunch when you're on your way to your open house. Again, we're going to talk more about the importance of the sign-in sheet and how to work it in a minute. Michael mentioned having the MLS sheet on your phone, which is technologically cool. The other thing that certain people do sometimes at open houses is, instead of a sign-in sheet by pen, is they'll have an iPad. If that's how you want to roll, by all means, roll with it. I personally like doing it this way, because I can control it more, which I'm going to get into in a second. And I also am very aware that most people do not want to sign in. And if you give them an iPad, and if they stumble on it, it's just, I think there's more of a possibility that they're not going to sign in, or somebody's behind them, they're not going to sign in. So do whatever works for you. If you like those programs on the iPads, go nuts. I just like the sign-in
I
sheet.
noticed there's no column for broker, like if the
No,
person. has-
no, and I'll get
is
to that.
specific, or-
Yeah, I'll get to that. So the other thing you're gonna print out as you're prepping the day before is a sign that says, open house 2 to 5 PM, please do not ring doorbell before 2 PM, okay? Now, why do we do this? It's because as you'll see in a minute, when we talk about open house signs, we're gonna do that super duper early in the morning. And when neighbors are driving through the neighborhood at 9 in the morning or 10 o'clock in the morning, and they're coming back from the gym or going to get bagels or doing the walk of shame, and they see your open house sign there, I don't want them to go up to your open house at 11 in the morning and say, oh, Howie's having an open house, knock, 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 and your clients are still in their PJs. So you're gonna make these signs and bring them with you to when you put out your open house signs, okay? If you're doing an open house in a condo, not sure what happened with this slide. If you're doing an open house in a condo, where somebody has to be buzzed in, again, it might require you to have a sign, say down at the front door, that says, I'm up in unit 2 or 3, either hit the code or here's my cell phone, that type of thing. And then the other thing to keep in mind is, again, if you are in a condo, sometimes there's no phone in the unit, or they can't use the code from downstairs, it's not connected to your phone. So quite often you might need another person with you to help out with the open house, to simply let people in, okay? Perhaps you can find somebody who's a newer agent who is willing to kind of just help out for the experience, or if you have to, you pay someone $50 and say, sit in the lobby, here's a magazine, please just let people in when they come. But we've done it both ways, and sometimes it's just out of necessity. It's actually no different than, say, if you're doing an open house and it's a really big house and the family's living there and they've got all their personal belongings. It's too big for me to be there alone and keep an eye on all the rooms. So sometimes you'll have other agents with you just to kind of be a body there, that type of thing. Other signs that you might have, like in a condo building, if it's confusing, directions towards the elevator, or if there are a lot of hallways, units around this way, that type of thing. But be careful when you're in a condo, because you're dealing with an HOA, and if you put up too many signs, you can get in trouble. So just sort of be aware of what the rules and regulations are. Another sign you might want is if there's information about the house, like if it's a funky layout, if there's a room in back that people are guaranteed to miss on their own, just put up a sign on the wall in front of it that says, study around the corner, or watch your step, whatever it is. The house will kind of tell you what's needed. Brochures, those glossy, very cool brochures that we all make that are very expensive. That's an interesting one, because a lot of times people just take them when they don't really need them, and they cost money. So it's up to you in terms of how many you want to put out, or if you put them out at all. I'd rather somebody ask me, hey, do you have any more information, and then give it out. But that's a kind of a personal choice. Booties, if your floors are brand new, just be proactive and get booties, because your seller is going to ask you for them. So you can get them at any hardware store like Ace or Home Depot or wherever. And then also make another little sign, put it on the wall above the booties, please wear booties, that type of thing. And also, kind of like masks in the office, if you wear booties, other people will wear booties as well. But if you ask them to wear the booties and you don't wear booties, you're kind of sending a mixed signal, and it's might not happen. Open house signs, kind of a dirty sign there, needs to be cleaned up a little bit. So what I do is I just put the address, I print, on a regular piece of paper, print the address, and I just tape it to my sign. Don't put too much information on your sign, because keep in mind that most people that are seeing your open house signs when they're out in the neighborhood, they're driving by at 20 miles an hour, 40 miles an hour. It's kind of like if you've ever had a garage sale and you spent all that time making those stupid garage sale signs, and you put all that information in it, nobody actually reads it because they're just driving by, they're just looking for the address. So make sure you have the address on there. If you want to put the time 2 to 5, that's fine as well. And then the day before, a couple of days before, figure out in advance where you're going to put your open house signs, okay? If you know the area, it should be simple. If you don't know the area, go on MapQuest, type in the address, look at the map, and be very strategic with where you put your signs. If your house is on the corner of, a busy street, you don't have to be overly strategic because you're going to get all the traffic right there. But if you're up in the hills a little bit where there's a left and a right, and you have to turn this way, think about where cars have to go in order to see the signs, okay? So just look at the map and sort of zero in on how you can triangulate to get traffic to come to your open house. You don't have to be on every corner because it's redundant and you might not have enough signs. So just kind of think about where the traffic is coming from and use your, put your signs there. The other thing I want you to prepare for are your social media posts, okay? The day before, don't do it the morning of, but the day before, write out your text, pull the pictures that you're going to use, create a file on your desktop that this is my open house social media file. So when you wake up on Sunday morning, which we'll get to in a minute, you can just post it on Facebook, post it on Instagram. But I'm telling you, prepare it in advance because everything takes longer than you think it's going to. And if you leave it all for Sunday, it'll be a mess. The most important thing you can do to prep for your open house is do your homework, okay? Know what's going on in the marketplace around your home. We can't know every house that's for sale or that has sold or that is going to come on the market. But if you're selling a house on Linden, by all means, know everything that's going on Linden, okay? And keep in mind that just because there's no for sale sign across the street, it doesn't mean that that house is not for sale. So go on the MLS and see what's active, see what's in escrow or coming soon, because people will inevitably at the open house ask you about, hey, did you see that thing that sold? That wasn't worth that much money. Everyone's got 10 opinions about every house. They're going to talk to you. They're going to ask you questions, and you want to know what's going on, especially in the area. So if it's not your listing, do a little bit of homework. Maybe even if it's early enough in the week, go to Caravan on Tuesday in that area so you can get familiarized with kind of what's going on. But it will all,
Howie,
Yeah.
may I just print out that information and take it to the open house with you?
not a bad idea.
I've had people ask me, oh, hey, can I get a copy of that? And I'm like, oh, this is my only one, but I'd be happy to email you.
Yeah.
So now you've
Yeah.
got their email address.
Exactly.
So have it with you.
Yep, that's a good call. And this will also help you when we talk about the pivot in the second, kind of like Ron was saying, it's information for you to have. So do your homework, okay? So Sunday morning, the day of your open house, start early, okay? Roll out your social media stuff that you've prepared the day before. Just get it out there. Tell the entire world that you're having an open house, okay? Your open house signs. This is key. Put them out early, okay? I don't care if the open house you're doing is half an hour from where you live. 8 a.m., you should be in your car on your way or at the open house, putting out your open house signs, okay? Because there's a few reasons why we do it. Number one, you're gonna meet neighbors along the way. They're gonna be out walking their dogs or just coming back from wherever, and they're gonna say, oh, is that house open? Yeah, you can talk to them, say, my name's Howie, give them a card, invite them in at 2 o'clock. You're gonna meet people. Number two, your clients are going to see it. When they go out, when they go to the gym, when they go to get bagels, they're gonna see that your signs are out for their house and they're gonna think, right on, she's on it. She knows what she's doing. It's gonna make you look good with your clients. And the other thing is, I eventually, I'm gonna say in a minute, want you to be at your open house 30 minutes before showtime. If you plan to put out your signs on the way to your open house, I'm telling you, traffic is going to be busier than you think it's going to be. It's going to take you longer to put out your signs. You're gonna stress. You're gonna rush, and God forbid you're going to be late to your open house. And you cannot be late to your open house. So I implore you, put them out early, and be done with it. Okay. Now, every neighborhood has that corner where there are 20 open house signs on every Sunday, okay? So if you get there at 8 in the morning to put out your sign and there's already 20 signs there pointing up the hill, great. They've done the work for you. You don't have to be the 21st sign there because no one's really going to see it anyway. If you want to, put it there. But what I would do is I would just go to the next block where there are no signs and sort of draft off of them. You know, again, from the day before, you've been strategic in where you are plotting out your signs. So if you need to improvise, okay? Again, I know everyone's at a different point in their real estate. Open house signs are not cheap. It's definitely a few $100 of an investment. I recommend, look, if you have 100 signs, put them on every corner. But if you can, I'd say have at least a dozen or work up to having a dozen, okay? I think when you order them, you probably can't order less than 3 at a time. So it's not like you're gonna have one sign. If for newer agents, if you don't have signs and you're sitting in an open house for someone else, ask that agent, hey, can I borrow your signs? You know, just do it that way. Or again, think about making the investment if you don't have the signs yet, because it will definitely be worth your while. Again, I recommend at least 6, but I think a dozen is a good number to have. And keep in mind that when you're putting them out, you definitely want to save 1 or 2 for right in front of the house. Don't forget about the obvious, you know, when you're planning the day before on MapQuest, leave one of your signs to be right in front. I have a couple of things that I do and do not do or don't do when I'm putting out my signs. I don't ever put my signs on someone else's property. And I know a lot of people do it, they'll put it on the corner. If it's their lawn, don't put it on their lawn, because you'll come back and your sign will be in the middle of the street, it'll be gone. It's not cool. So don't put it on someone else's property. Don't ever block. Yeah.
I've doing this forever, but the trick for that, you have your owner go to that person with a bottle of wine. Do you mind if I take
Sure.
it puts aside?
Sure.
It works all the time.
Yeah, absolutely. Don't block anybody else's sign. If someone's sign is there and they're even stupid with how they placed it and they took up too much space on the curb, don't block their sign, okay? And I don't ever touch anybody else's signs, even if they've fallen down. I just don't want anyone to say that, oh, you knocked it over or anything like that. If they block my sign, I will just move my sign over. I don't want to get into it with anybody else, and just, you know, kind of be smart about it. The other thing when you're putting out your signs is know where you are, because certain cities have regulations that prohibit you from putting out signs. Beverly Hills, West Hollywood, the Marina. I think sometimes in Calabasas, you know, you can't have signs in certain areas.
And Burbank, you have to get a permit for your signs.
Yeah, Beverly Hills, you need the for sale sign needs a little.
No, I mean open house signs too.
Oh, okay, yeah. So know where you are, okay? Do people do it without having the permits and put them where they're not supposed to? Absolutely. And sometimes you get away with it, and then other times you come back and your sign is gone and you're never getting it back, you know, that type of thing. And again, they're not cheap. So just understand where you are and kind of what you're doing. The other thing that you're going to do when you're putting out your for sale signs is put up that do not knock sign that we looked at earlier. Okay, when you get to the house or when you're driving around the house, putting out your open house signs, put up on wherever it makes sense. If it's on the front gate or the garage door, if they have to pass it to get to the front door, maybe print out a few of them. Put one on the front door in case they missed the first one, but say do not knock, you know, before 2 o'clock. And then also when you're at the house or when you're in the neighborhood putting out your signs, leave that last sign or 2 that is going to stay at the house you might as well just leave it there until you come back. You can leave it in your car if you want. But God forbid you switch cars or your wife takes the car or you forget where you put it, just leave it at the house and you're good when you get there. And then you're done. You're done until the open house. So go to the gym, go to have brunch. You're ready to roll. I think it's best to arrive 30 minutes before an open house, okay? Again, you don't want to be late. You don't want to rush. When we rush, that's when we make mistakes. People will be early for the open house, and it's up to you as to whether or not you want to let them in. I've had people outside when I've gotten there, and I've said, you know what, I need time to open up, turn on all the lights and stuff like that. So if you wouldn't mind coming back or just waiting outside, there's nothing wrong with that. And why are you there 30 minutes earlier? Because again, you want to get the house ready. You want to turn on all the lights, open the shades, open the curtains, sliding doors, you know, weather permitting, if it's not raining, that type of thing. You basically want to do a walkthrough of the house and the yard. And, you know, I'm not saying take up the vacuum the rug, but if there's a pillow on the floor, pick up the pillow, throw it on the couch. Make sure all the toilet seats are down. If you're having booties, put them by the front door with the booty sign. Put up any directional signs that you may have made. If you have food, put it out. If you have waters, put it out, or a candle. Be careful with candles, because if you light a candle, make sure you blow out that candle at the end of the open house. You know, don't make it look like a Sting video where there's like 80 of them in every room, because you'll forget where they are. But just be careful with that. And just kind of, you know, make sure that the house looks. Let me just say one other thing. Make sure the house looks presentable. If hopefully there's nothing in the sink. I've actually cleaned dishes and hidden them in cabinets before an open house, because that's what needed to be done. If you move anything that is not yours, obviously it's not yours, it's an open house. If you move anything, just take a picture on your phone as to where you moved it to, so you remember. Yeah.
I was gonna say, when I do the walkthrough of the rooms, I check to see if my clients left anything valuable.
Right.
And money, jewelry,
Yeah.
small electronics, whatever, and I take a picture and I put it in my bag. So I know where it is, so I know where to put it back. But I also send an email to them in advance asking them to put away all that stuff.
Yeah.
But sometimes they forget.
Yep, great stuff, great stuff. Once you walk through the house, then remember the setup sheet and the sign-in sheet that we created and your business cards that you have with you. You want to figure out the best location for where you're going to put those, okay? Now, obviously, every house is different. You want it to be kind of near where people are coming in, because if you put it way in the back, like if the kitchen is in the back of the house, they're going to see half the house before they have any information and before you've had a chance to get them to sign in. So figure out a place that makes sense for you to be able to sort of control the funnel of the flow of where they're coming and where they're going, and find the right place for that, so they'll see it. And again, the sign-in sheet is the holy grail of the open house, okay? You need to babysit it, you need to nurture it, you need to protect it, you need to give it life, because otherwise your open house is a waste of time if you don't have that information. You're smiling because I hope you agree.
Yes.
As far as the sign-in sheet goes, what I do is I always write in the first name. He was my roommate in college. Fill in the lines that you want other people to fill in, okay? The reason we do that is because when people come into the open house, they will follow the lead of what's in front of them, okay? The other thing I do is I always just take a blank piece of paper and I fold it up. I write the date on the top and I write the address, okay? And this is my notes page, and I always have a pen with me. Again, you're gonna have a lot of pens. I take notes on everybody that I talk to. They don't see this, but this stays in my back pocket, or, you know, I've always got my phone in my hand. This is folded up, and I'm always taking notes after I talk to people. So have something to write on, because in a good open house with a lot of people, a lot of action, you're not going to remember everybody even an hour later, I guarantee it. So make sure you have someplace to take some notes. The other thing you want to do is figure out your spot, okay? of where you're going to be. In the same way that you figured out where to put your sign-in sheet and your setup sheet, figure out where your spot's gonna be, where you can greet people. Not only greet people, but be there when they're done, okay? Hopefully the house is set up in a way where there are not 8 entrances or exits or ways for people to escape, okay? You want to be sort of, again, if it's a funnel, when they walk around the house and they're ready to leave, they have to come past you. And we're gonna talk about that in a minute. Yeah,
I would padlock gates, so they couldn't.
sure. Sure, I would check with the seller first. You know, again, I don't want to do anything to the house that is not, yeah. But figure out where your spot's gonna be so that they have to pass you again when they're done previewing the house, because that's when you're gonna talk to them, okay? You're gonna hide your stuff. If you have a water bottle, your keys, if you have a backpack, just hide it so it's out of the way. Don't leave it out, don't leave it, you know, you want the house to look great, especially if it's staged. So kind of put your stuff away. The other big thing is safety. I don't care male or female, I don't care how big you are, how small you are, if you beat the shit out of people on the weekends in Krav Maga, I don't care. You have to have a plan. I want you to tell your roommates, your spouses, your partners, your family, whoever it is, someone needs to know the address of where you are for your open house and what time you're going to be there, okay? Safety is the most important thing. If your spidey senses go up, and they will, that this person, something weird is going on here, I don't care what's in the house, just go to the front door and just step outside and just wait outside. If they want to steal shit, let them steal shit. Okay, your safety is not worth what may or may not be taken.
What happens then?
You mean if they steal stuff?
Yeah.
My very first listing, I was alone in the house doing an open house, and a lovely couple came in. I was talking to them. And then they said something that just didn't make sense. It wasn't even weird. It was just about, I asked them where they lived and the address didn't match up. And like in the back of my brain, and they said something else that didn't make sense. So I was kind of on alert. And then I realized one thing led to another. They asked me to show them where the garage was. And I said, it's right through that door. And they had separated. It was a man and a woman. And the guy said, can you show me? And I started walking towards the garage to show him. And I realized something's weird here. I said, it's right there. And I went back to my spot because I could see upstairs. And I could see that the woman was behind the door in the master bedroom. And I didn't know it was behind it. And it was way before iPhones with cameras and whatnot. And for some stupid reason, I wasn't worried about my safety, which is not smart, and nothing happened to me physically. But what happened was they ended up stealing some expensive perfume, which I found out the next day because the owner's son called me and said, hey, my mom's perfume is gone.
Yeah.
So I apologized, and I didn't get fired or anything like that. I ended up selling the house, not to them. But you just have to, you figure it out. I mean, if they want to file a police report, if you can take a picture of someone or their license plate, great. But you just have to be smart about it. Don't put yourself in harm's way. It's not worth it. I've had people yell at me at open houses. I was the only one in the house having a lovely conversation with this guy, and he just started cursing at me. He's like, I wouldn't fucking buy a house from the club. I'm just asking you a question. It's like, that's not your damn job, your job. Okay. And I slowly walked towards the front of the house, and he walked out. I'm not looking to be confrontational at all. It's, again, I'm married, I've got a daughter, I want to go home to them.
Yeah.
So just be smart about it. I would go and stand in the middle of the street and just call, if it really got hairy, just call 911 and get into my car. But I don't think your client is going to be angry with you. They'll hopefully be sympathetic. So just be smart, carry pepper spray or whatever is comfortable for you, that type of thing. But make sure somebody knows where you are, I think is the big thing. So safety, safety, safety. A couple of minutes before 2 o'clock, you're going to put out your last open house signs to say, hey, it's showtime. And then you're going to, fire up that Michael Bublé sound song list that you put together, because it's showtime. And again, people are gonna arrive early, so just be ready. It's not always at 2 o'clock, it's gonna be when it is. So then, boom, it's game on. You're in your spot, people are arriving. You greet them, mention the booties if they're needed. But here's where I like to be, not scientific, but here's where I like to be strategic, okay? When people come into my open house, I greet them. And I don't say too much to them, because what I want to do is I want to get them over to the sign-in sheet and to the setup sheet. Hi, my name's Howie, welcome. There's information about the house right there. Appreciate you signing in, okay? I'm not being heavy-handed. I'm not forcing them to sign in. I'm just politely kind of nudging them that way. And again, they're gonna see there's already a name with a number and an email address, so they're gonna fill it in, okay? And here's the other thing. As they're writing, do not say a word. Enjoy the awkward silence, because again, nobody wants to sign in. And as soon as somebody starts writing, if you ask them as they're writing, so where are you from? Hey, what are you looking for? Hey, do you have an agent? They're gonna stop writing. And then you create more work for yourself. So let them write before you start talking, okay? When they're done signing, and look, if it's more than one person, if it's a group of people, you know, if somebody's signing in, if there are kids, just say hi to the kid, or what grade are you in, or hey, I love your shoes, something like that, but don't say anything that will distract them from signing in, okay? And then once they're done signing in, I just say, take a look around, let me know if you have any questions. I might offer them, you know, it's 3 beds, 2 baths, 1,800 square feet. But don't overwhelm them with numbers and statistics about this was done and that was done and blah, 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 because there's nothing, it won't be anchored to anything. They haven't seen the house yet and it won't make any sense to them. So let them go see the house. And again, they're gonna go, it's like a Disneyland tour. They're gonna go take the tour and then they have to come back past you. So that's what we're waiting for. We don't want to overload them when they first come in. We want to sort of set them off on their way and then let them do their thing. Now, as soon as they walk away, you are going to slowly walk over to the sign-in sheet and you're going to look at it. And if they didn't fill anything in, for instance, if they didn't fill in an email, what I want you to do is I want you to just write in a fake email address, okay? And then I want you to write your initials right next to it. That says HN, those are my initials. And that's just a secret little code for me. I know that that's a fake email address, but I want that place filler to be there. So when the next people come in, they, hopefully it didn't work, but they write their email address in as well. Okay, I don't want any blank lines here. I don't want any blank lines there. So to start, if they're blank, I fill it in and I put my initials. You can put whatever you want. You can write SpongeBob or something, but just do something so that there are no blank lines. Okay. And then later, when I'm talking to them again, and I finally get their real information, I'm just going to say, hey, what's the best email address for you? And it's not awkward. It's not, you know, they might say, oh, I forgot to put it, or that's not my email. Not a big deal. I cross out what I wrote and I put in their real email address and I put a little check mark next to it. So my system, create your own system. My system is, if it has my initials next to it, it's not real. But the phone number is real because there's a check there. That email is real because there's a check there. So again, this list is the most important part of the open house. Later that day, the next day, a week later, a month later, this is part of your database and all that stuff. So you want to make sure that you get this, this information. If they don't sign in at all, just kind of make a mental note or just write down on your note sheet, hey, dude with blue shirt didn't sign in. I got his name. Brian didn't sign in. So I'm going to remember that when he comes back around, I'm going to say, hey, would you mind, signing in for me? listen, some people are asses and they're gonna make a big deal about not signing in. It's like not wearing a mask. What are you gonna do? I'm not gonna fight you about signing in. Some people get belligerent about it. They don't realize that that's your office. I mean, you're basically, you're coming into my office. This is it's a house, but this is my office. So I'm asking you to sign in, but don't make a big deal if they don't. That's just kind of a close-up of you can see the initials. So more people are gonna come and you're gonna say the same thing. You're keeping a mental note though. You're compartmentalizing your brain as to who is in the house. Number one, for safety reasons. Okay, you always want to remember like, oh shit, am I alone in the house? Or is that dude still upstairs? Is that couple still downstairs? You want to kind of remember that, okay, the lady with the funny looking kid, they went over there. The other couple's upstairs. The guy with the way too young girlfriend maybe it's his daughter, but I don't think so. They're in the backyard. I've got 3 different groups going on. And the guy with the young girlfriend, when he came in, said, yeah, my agent told me to come by today. So boom, in my brain, I know that he doesn't need as much hand holding as the other 2 groups, who I don't know about just yet because they haven't circled back to me. But you want to sort of compartmentalize as to where everybody is and let them go through the house. Then they're going to come back again. Why? Because you're in the perfect spot that you picked out. They have to funnel past you. So when they come back down, or down the hallway, or down the stairs, or up the stairs, whatever it is, that's where the fun begins. This is where you earn your money, and this is why you're at the open house, okay? At the appropriate time, you want to get them talking. I don't want to do the talking. I want to get them talking, because they're going to tell me everything I need. I'm going to know if their email address is even real, you know, that type of thing. So I'm going to keep it simple. I'm going to keep it casual. And I say this literally the same thing to every single person. Okay. I get tired of hearing my own voice. You will get tired of hearing your own voice. If you ever sit in an open house with me, you will be able to talk along with me because you'll know exactly what I'm going to say. Usually when they walk back in, I'll just ask them, hey, what part of town do you live in now? Okay. Whatever they say, I try to sort of offer some anecdote. I've lived in Los Angeles for over 30 years. My daughter's gone to a bunch of schools. I've coached soccer here and there. I can say, oh yeah, we used to live here. I've got friends over in Benedict, blah, 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 blah. Just something, okay? But what part of town do you live in? Then I'll ask them, are you looking just for fun, or are you looking to make a move? This is the one that usually opens up the vault, okay? And they will just vomit all the information that you want, okay? They will just start talking. They will give you hopefully everything you need. They might say something like, you know, we are seriously looking, but this is out of our price range, or we need more bedrooms, or you know, we don't want to, the backyard is too small. So guess what time it is? It's time to pivot. Okay, this is the exciting part. This is when you can say, great, I'd love to help you find what you're looking for. Okay, very casual, very simply. And then you ask them a bunch of other questions. Again, you don't want to sound like a robot, and you don't want to sound like you're stalking them. So just keep it very casually. What's your situation right now? Do you rent or do you own? Kind of like playing a video game. When you play a video game, you walk into a room, you open a door, and then depending on if you kill the dragon, you can go to that room or that room, and there's a door here and there's a door there. Depending on how they answer your question, you're going to go down this road or you're going to go down that road. If they say they rent, my next question is, great, are you locked into a lease or are you month to month? Because if they say our lease doesn't expire, or it's July, if they say our lease expires next May, then they're probably just kicking tires right now. But if they say, no, I'm month to month and I'm ready to go, great, that's information for me. If they say that they own, my next question is, great, do you need to sell anything? Do you need to sell your house in order to buy? And if they say no, I'm thinking, great, I'm going to sell that house for you. Again, we're at this open house to pick up business, to pick up sellers and get listings in this hot market. Okay, so the more questions you ask, the more information you'll get. So do you need to sell your house in order to buy? No, I don't. Great. That means that eventually they're either going to lease it, which I'm going to do for them, or they're gonna sell it, which I'm gonna do for them. If they say, yes, I need to sell my house, love that answer as well, because my next response is, fantastic. The best thing I can do for you to set you up for success is when it's convenient for you, I'd love to come and see your house. And that way I can tell you what we could list it for, and then you'll know where you stand for when you're ready to buy your next property. I'm sort of creating an invitation to come see their house. I'm not being pushy, and I'm not a big fan of the hard close of, look, I'm available Tuesday at 10 or 3, which one works for you? I don't do it that way. It's just not my style. If it's your style, that's great. Keep doing it. It's just not me. And guys, keep in mind, everything that I'm saying, everything that I'm offering, you don't have to say it exactly the way I say it. Just if any of this is resonating with you, translate it into your own, the way you speak, you know? If you are more direct, be more direct, but take the nugget of what I'm saying. But ask the right questions. Ask them, what do you think your price point is? And hopefully they know what their price point is. If they say, you know, anywhere between $1 million and 10 million, that's the worst. And if you say, what part of town are you thinking? Anywhere from Pasadena to Hermosa Beach. That's the worst also. I want to hear, my kid goes to this school, I work over here, so I need to be Studio City, Sherman Oaks, Encino, or I need to be in the Palisades or Brentwood, because otherwise you have a lot more work to do, so you're not wasting your time. But ask the questions. Are you all cash or are you getting a loan? All cash, great. Getting a loan, great. Are you pre-approved? Yes, fantastic. No, okay, great. If you have a lender that you like to work with, fantastic. If you need a couple of referrals, I've got some names I can give you. Doesn't cost you anything. I don't get anything out of it. And I always say that because sometimes people think, oh, this is some sort of a scam, or it's going to cost them money, or I'm responsible for their loan. I just say, look, if you work with a lender that I recommend to you, I know that you'll be taken care of 1,000% of the time, and that we can get them on the phone anytime we need to. So I will offer them that information. And I'll also, again, you have to be careful. You have to understand how people's brains work. And this is all happening very quickly. Some people want numbers. Some people don't like numbers. I will, if I see they're engaged, I'll tell them that the reason they want to talk to a lender also is because it's not just getting pre-approved, oh, you can afford $1 million or $500,000. Those numbers are up here. What you as a homeowner or home buyer want to understand is, what will my monthly payment be? And that's what a lender can tell you. If you buy a house for $800,000 and you put down 20%, so you're putting down 160, your loan is 640, your monthly payment, I'm just making up numbers, your monthly payment's going to be $4,100. That's what you need to wrap your brain around. That's what a lender can help you with. Oh, I didn't know that. I'm looking at $3 million homes and I make $400 a week. I'm not passing judgment. I'm just want to help you, get to the right place. So ask the right questions. If I don't have this information yet, at a certain point, I will ask them. It's kind of like, hey, dating anybody? Are you looking on your own, or are you working with an agent? Hopefully they say, we're not working with anybody. Great. And everything I've just been doing, hopefully has been adding value. If they say I'm working with an agent, sometimes I'll just say, great, you're in good hands, Now, keep in mind that just because someone has an agent, it doesn't mean that I turn off to them, and it doesn't mean you stop talking to them. It just means that if they're the only ones in the house, we're gonna keep talking. But if I've got 3 other groups behind me who I haven't done this dance with yet, and I know that Rhonda just came in, and Rhonda just said to me that she has an agent, again, I don't have to hold Rhonda's hand as much or at all as compared to, say, Alex, who I know I'm going to talk to when he comes back around, because he might not have an agent. So you're nice to everybody, but you want to know, are you looking on your own? Do you have an agent? Sometimes I'll say, oh, who are you working with? And whether I know them or not, you're in good hands. Sometimes I'll ask who you're working with, because this is why, again, like I said before, when people come in the house, right when they get there, don't jump on them with a lot of questions. It's like if you've ever bought a car, when you go to the car dealership, they swarm on you, you don't even know what you're looking for yet, and then you're turned off by all these people. If somebody walks into your open house and you jump on them the first minute they come in, of course, they're gonna say, I have an agent. They're gonna say it just to get you to back off. So don't do it when they come in. Let them walk around the house, give them information that they've asked for, show them your value, and then ask them. And then I think they're more likely to be honest with you. Now, sometimes if it's a couple or two people and you say, are you guys working with an agent? Sometimes you get this. Yeah, we're working with an agent, and they're like, BSing each other. Tell them we have an agent, tell them we have an agent. So then I'll say, oh, who are you working for? To kind of, if you're in that kind of mood. But if they say they have an agent, they have an agent. I'm not looking to step on anyone's toes or do anything unethical, but you want to ask the right question. Our job is to ask questions, okay? You're gonna do this again and again and again. You're gonna get people to sign in. And I promise you, at the end of 3 hours, you should be exhausted. I am exhausted at the end of my open houses because you're not sitting, you're standing the whole time and you're talking the whole time. And that's a good sign. If you're not exhausted, sometimes you're exhausted because nobody's come in and you're just kind of bored trying to stay awake. But you want to talk to everybody and ask the right questions. The other thing is, once the open house is done, you need to follow up with your client, okay? You've been there for 3 hours, they've been out of the house for 3 hours, they want to know what's going on. So within an hour or two max, you either need to call them or email them a breakdown of what happened. I had 7 groups come through, like 21 people total, however you want to say it, sometimes groups, sometimes total amount of people. And be honest with them. Don't sugarcoat it. Give them both the good feedback and the negative feedback, because you're going to need that at some point. If everyone says, oh my God, I love how they did the kitchen, just tell them everybody loved the kitchen. But if people also say they're concerned about the sound of traffic because it's on a main street, let them know that as well. Because if you're not getting any offers in 3 weeks, 4 weeks, and you need a price reduction, you need to be able to back it up with, well, everyone was saying the same thing. They're okay living on this street, but not at this price. So don't sugarcoat it, and also don't overplay it. Don't, oh my God, everybody who came through loved every single thing about this house. Because if you don't get an offer in the next hour, they're going to say, well, what's going on there? So just be honest. Don't ever lie. Not lie. I know you're not going to lie, but don't over exaggerate to your clients. And also, when people ask you questions about the house, there's absolutely nothing wrong. Kind of what Rhonda was referring to before in a different way. Nothing wrong with saying, I don't know that answer. Let me get the information. I'll get back to you. This is a very litigious business that we're in. And if you tell someone that those are oak floors and they're maple, they might sue you down the road because they bought it and they're allergic to oak. So just be careful with what you say. Don't tell them what you think they want to hear. Get them the information. And like Rhonda said, then it's another way to, hey, let me get your email and make sure, I can get back to you. Another thing to remember is keep in mind, even when you think you're alone in the house, they may be watching you. There could be cameras, there could be listening devices, like if they've got kids and, nanny cams or whatnot. We had an open house. I don't remember which one it was, but we gave the feedback that we said we had 4 groups today. And the owner said, oh, really? Because the camera in the baby's room only picked up 1 person. We weren't lying. We had the sheet to show that 4 groups had signed in, but for whatever reason, either they didn't go into that room or didn't pick them up. But just beware that you could be being watched by the homeowners.
You should assume that you are.
Yeah, it's not a bad idea. So you've got your sign-in sheet, you collect all your stuff, when you're done, make sure the house is locked up. Again, you've given your client the feedback, and then your job is, it's all on the follow-up. You have your notes page where you've taken notes, which should line up with the sign-in sheet, okay? Dude with the black and white mask and glasses, how tall, we talked about. He just moved here from New York. Okay, great. So now when I reach out to him, I can reference that, or if he mentions something about his kid goes to this school or just got into this school, hey, congrats again about Brentwood, whatever it is. That's why you're taking notes, because you want to create, not in a weird way, but just affiliations or connections with people that you can sort of refer to later. If it turns out, I'm from New York, if they have a Yankee hat on, I'm gonna talk to them about that. If they have a Michigan hat on, I went to school, whatever it is, you know. I was at Noma House a couple of weeks ago. Do you have a UCLA hat on? My daughter just got into UCLA, started the conversation. You know, I mean, just, you have whatever it is to do. But your job is to use your sheet, use your sign-in sheet, use your notes, and follow up with everybody with whom it makes sense, okay? Follow through on everything you said you were gonna do. If you pivoted with someone and they said, you know, this house doesn't work for me, I really wanna be near Warner Avenue Elementary School, and you say, I'm gonna get you all the listings that are active there, you better get them those listings within 24 hours. I've had situations at an open house, I don't remember what it was, I said something to this woman, she called me the next day, and thankfully I had the information, I gave it to her, we were in escrow that Friday on another property. I've also had the reverse, where I've offered something, and they call me to say, hey, you never sent me that stuff. Well, you don't want that feeling, you feel very small, okay? So if you make a promise, I'd rather you over-deliver, whatever the phrase is, under-promise, over-deliver, than not deliver. But you need to follow up with your peeps by Monday. Tuesday at the latest. If you call them on Wednesday, I've already called them. Rhonda's already called them. You've already called them. So don't wait too long, okay? And again, with your notes, even if somebody leaves before, like, let's say I'm talking to two groups and somebody leaves through that funnel and I didn't get to talk to them, I'm gonna make a note in my notes, hey, Rhonda left before I could talk to her. So therefore, when I call Rhonda on Monday, that's gonna be my opening line. Hey, Rhonda, it's Howie, we met yesterday at my open house on Laurel Canyon. I didn't get the chance to talk to you before you left. Just want to check in. Again, then stop talking. Let them talk. But you have to follow up, because if you don't follow up, all this information is for naught. Then you just got a bunch of sheets. But the reason that you're here is to get their information, to then follow up with them, and then to conduct business with them, hopefully on the listing side or whatnot. And then back to follow up. So look at this line here at the bottom. I don't know if you guys can see this at home, but it's a sales statistics. The top part actually says 48%. So half of salespeople never follow up with a prospect. Wow. Think about that. You've just spent 3 hours at your open house. You've gotten their information, a great conversation, and you're never going to call them. Half the people don't do it. 25%, a quarter of us, only make 2 calls, and then we stop. 12% make 3 contacts and stop. Only 10% of us, how many people in the room? 3, 6, 9, 12 of us, so 10%. So 1.2, one of us, and it's gonna be me. All right, I'll wrestle you for it.
I beat a dead horse.
There you
man,
go.
it's me.
One of us will make more than 3 contacts. And why is that important? Because look at this. Let's cut to the chase. This bottom line at home, everyone, it says 80% of sales are made on the 5th to 12th contact. So that means that when you follow up with people on Monday and they don't answer your call them again. When they don't answer your email them again. The 3rd time, the 4th time. I don't mean do it every day. Don't, again, like dating. You don't want to stalk them. You don't want to be that weak. What's that?
Until you get blocked.
Until you don't want to be weird about it. Like, say something different on the 3rd call. Say, hey, I'm going to be open again this Sunday if you want to come back, if you haven't connected. Or, hey, I sent you a property, just want to make sure you got it. Say something different to just kind of mix it up. Don't be weird about it. You will get those people who say, don't ever fucking call me, pardon my word, don't ever call me again. So don't ever call me again. Okay, great. And then you'll get those people who say, I'm so sorry, I literally flew out of town the next day and I just got back from Greece after 3 weeks. I'm so glad you called. You're never going to bat 1,000. Okay, if you want to get into that Hall of Fame for baseball, you're batting 300. That's 3 out of 10. You're not going to bat 1,000, but you have to follow up. And then you can be as cool as this guy. Look at him with his hair, and he's confident and feels good. He's got that lean. But I can't stress enough, open houses are such a great source of business if you treat them correctly. When I started doing open houses, I used to bring the calendar section with me and the sports section with me. And I'd sit there and I'd read it, and I'd get so angry when I saw somebody coming in, because I'd have to put the paper, they would never catch me reading the paper. But that's how I viewed those 3 hours, like, oh, I'm gonna read the paper. And then something clicked, I'm like, no, I don't, this is not why I'm here. And now it's an opportunity to pick up business and make more money. That's why we're here. We're not just doing this for fun. So open houses. I've done a lot of talking. Can I answer any questions or?
I have a question. Hi. Hello, my name is George Gaspar, and I'm relatively kind of a new agent there, and I did the training with Justin Jacobson, and I have a question for you about the open house. First, thank you so much for all your information. It was very, very helpful. Explained a lot to us. My question to you is mainly for us to, even though that we don't know many agents, and I know that Keller Williams have many successful agents, how can we approach those agents that have the listings so we can host their open houses? How you suggest to us to do that? Is always via email or telephone? What is your suggestion for new agents to, get along for, first open houses hosting like that?
No, it's a great question. You just have to kind of jump in, and let me take this from a couple different angles. When I got to this office years ago, again, we're in COVID times now, so everyone's not always in the office. On COVID times, when the office was bustling on a daily basis, I walked around the office and I literally introduced myself to everybody, and especially the big dogs in the office. The Lee Ziffs and the Jeff Yarbrough. I stalked Jeff Yarbrough when I got here. And he was running the mentor program at the time. And he said, I don't do it anymore. I just run the program. I said, no, I want you to be my mentor. And I stalked him at his open house. That's the only time I'll use the word in a good way. And it worked, and we became friends, and we've done business together. But I introduced myself to everybody and just said, look, I'm available to help you with open houses. And sometimes it works, but here's what you have to keep in mind is that if you're a newer agent, it doesn't matter, like, let's say I have a listing. It doesn't matter if it's a $500,000 condo or a $5 million house. I'm responsible for that property on behalf of my client, okay? So I cannot, in good conscience, just give an open house to someone that either I don't know, that is brand new, or that I haven't worked with before. So what I would recommend is, and I don't know what your level of experience is, but if you haven't done a lot of open houses, I would put yourself out there to first say to anybody, hey, look, I'd love to hang out with you at your open house, and do that a couple of times so you can see, again, what I just talked about for the past hour and a half. That's how I do it. It's not the only way to do it. It's what has worked for me. I hope there are nuggets of things in here that work for you guys as well. But again, make it your own. However, what I'm getting at, George, don't be offended if somebody says, I can't just give you an open house because you haven't done this before. So let's put you in the position of, you have the training where 3-4 times of shadowing me or Rhonda or someone else, that they would feel comfortable then giving you an open house to do. Does that make sense?
No, it truly makes sense. And I love this idea, because then we can see how they operate in their open house, and we can take from there. Even though that we might have an experience, but it would have been nice to see somebody doing it, like experience like yourself doing it on an open house. So that's a very good idea. Thank you.
So if you have an open house to host and you're far in an area on Sunday, go to the open houses and meet the agent. And at Keller Williams, we have a different set of standards and we're trained and that sort of thing. But a lot of other companies don't really care and don't even want to hold open houses. So if you're meeting agents at other companies, they might allow you to sit their open houses as well. So if go to your farm on Sundays and start meeting all the people who have the listing. And then if they're not going to hold it open the following week, maybe they'll let you. But when you go, be professional, look professional, have your neighborhood or whatever, and let them know that you are a real professional and try to open houses that.
But the bottom line is talk to everybody, just let everyone know that you're available. Let everybody know that you're interested in doing that because they may not know. And do it again and again and again. And it's not, you're not bothering them. And again, depending on the person's situation, like I'm on a team. So when we have multiple open houses, first we're gonna have our team sort of fill in to cover the open houses. But there's plenty of times where we're super busy and we have more open houses than we do people on the team. So we do need other folks to kind of, help out. But I would say if you're a newer agent, and I'm just speaking for me personally, ask me to come hang out at my open house or tell me, hey, I've done 6 open houses with David Martinez and Lee Ziff's office, or, Jeff Yarbrough or whoever. It will tell me that you kind of know what you're doing, so to speak. Or no, if you've been an agent for long enough and you've done this long enough, then just because we don't know each other doesn't mean that you're not. I don't mean it that way. But talk to everybody. Talk to everybody.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Hey, Howie, I have a question, please. Is it done? Hello? Howie? Hi. I had a question. How do you follow up with the people who meet at the open house? A lot of time they don't communicate with you. They don't answer you. How do you follow up with them? With a call or with the email? I mean, I have a problem with that one. They won't respond to me. I don't hear anything from them, even though I called them a couple of times, Can you give me something about follow up, what to do after that?
You just have to be persistent, John. You just have to follow up. Again, you don't do it every day. Let it breathe a little bit. And maybe come at it from a different angle. If you're going to do the same open house the following week, maybe just call them back and say, hey, I'm going to be there again on Sunday. Would love for you to come by so we can keep talking. Or, hey, you mentioned that you're looking in Westwood, send them some stuff in Westwood. Show them your value. And you're not going to convert everybody, and that's the other thing to keep in mind is that you can have conversations with people at an open house who, while they're there, say, oh my God, I love this house. I'm writing an offer tonight. I need this house. You call them later that night or you call them the next day and it's like you've never met. They've just gotten back into the rhythm of life or work or whatnot. So John, you're not gonna get them all, but you just have to be persistent.
Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah. Diane.
I missed the beginning, but I wanted to know, do you ask Howie if they have an agent?
So I do it strategically, not in the beginning. I get them to sign in, I let them walk around. And then when they come back, I ask them a series of very specific questions. One of them is at a certain point, are you looking on your own or are you working with an agent?
The reason I ask is because I said to people, oh, you have an agent, who? And they don't know the name of
Right.
the agent.
Correct.
Or they have no, and I'm thinking, maybe they just say they have an agent.
And that
Maybe
happens-
I shouldn't be asking.
No, that happens quite a bit. You want to ask because you need to know how much energy should you put. If somebody tells me I'm working with Diane Sharp at Keller Williams Beverly Hills, on my little sign-in sheet, I'm gonna put an A next to their name, which to me means they have an agent. And again, they specifically said, Diane, I know who Diane is. I'm not gonna call them because I'm not gonna step on anyone's toes. But if I get that BS answer like you got, I will absolutely call them. I'm not gonna make a big deal out of it. I'm not gonna say, you lied to me, didn't you? Just let it go, and just say, hey, it was great meeting you. Would love to help you out. That type of
Thank
thing.
you.
Yeah. Anyone else? Any questions, thoughts?
I have a question.
Yes.
Hi, Howie. So I was hosting an open house and then I contacted somebody that was interested and she said she was going to come back to the second open house. And I said, great, I'll be there. I'll wait for you. I mean, I look forward to seeing you again. So she gave me an hour window. She never showed up. I called her while I was there. She didn't answer. The next morning she messaged me and she said, oh, sorry. And I wasn't able to make it. I said, no worries. I would love to help you see this property again. Or are you looking somewhere else? She said, not right now. Do I still follow up with her or do I not? I just felt very awkward after that.
It is awkward. It's not anything that you did wrong. It is awkward. She made it awkward. I would follow up with her. I mean, look, I've met people, and it happened with someone in this office, actually. I've met a dude at one of my open houses on a Sunday, hit it off with this couple, talked about what they're looking for. I'm going to find it for you. I was caravanning on Tuesday. I walked into an open house. They are walking out with an agent in this office.
Oh,
You never, buyers are liars and sellers are worse. You never know, Cindy, what's going to happen. You just, I mean, my takeaway is you have to have as many things going at one time as possible. So
Right.
when that scenario presents itself, it doesn't hurt as much because you've got these 7 or 8 other leads that you're dealing with. Not that you just want to let it go, but I would have,
offer up my services.
I would
Just
abs-
call
yeah.
up and say, hey, if you want to see this house, I'd be happy to see you, to show it to you, to schedule an appointment for you. And if you want to see something else, I'm happy to do that as well. Let me know how I can help you.
yeah, and if you can be more specific, like based on conversations that you've had, if you know she's looking in whatever, Laurel Canyon, you know, then tell her, hey, that thing on Wonderland just fell out of escrow. Would love to get you in. Like it always comes, everyone says if we bring value to people, offer her something of value that she may not know about. And here's the other thing, I should have said this before. We all know that even when we get the names and the numbers and the email addresses, they're at my open house. Then they're going to Rhonda's open house. Then they're going to Diane's open house. And they're going to this guy's open house. And they're going to her. I'm potentially one of 9 people. So Cindy, you were potentially one of 3, 5, 8, 10 people she met that day and had the same conversation with. I don't mean that to diminish it. I just mean we need to work harder to kind of differentiate ourselves from the other people that they've spoken to. And I think that's the mode that you're in right now.
Right. Yeah. And thank you. I was just like thrown off guard completely when she's like, no.
Yeah, it's weird. You'll show people properties, say for a month or, and this is a whole conversation about the buyer broker, which I don't want to get into, but you'll spend time showing properties to people and then they'll ghost you or the whatever. And you're like, what's going on? I thought we had.
Yeah. Because I was like, you said you were going to show up and you didn't come. Like, now what? Like, it was just so awkward.
I have a development thing in Beverly Hills. I had a developer call me. He texted me. It was one of those generic texts. Hey, I'm looking to build blah, blah, blah. And I don't usually respond, but I responded because I had something. And I had a great conversation with this guy. He works primarily down in Orange County. He's looking to move up here. And my thing was perfect for him in conversation. We had a time to meet the next day. I had a earlier showing. He was going to be at 3 o'clock. The dude never showed up. And I emailed to this guy as well that night. He never showed up. I've never been able to get him back on the phone. I don't even know if he's alive. So you just never know what's going to happen with people. You just have to kind of keep moving forward and have as many of those balls in the air or plates spinning. It's like having deals. You know,
Right.
You want as many deals as possible because you think you're going to make 50 grand on this one commission. And then it turns out to be half that for whatever reason, or you're going to have to pay, you're going to do what you need to do to get the deal done. And it's going to cost you some money. You know?
Right.
So have as many going at one time, and therefore it's easier to swallow.
Thank
But
you.
I wouldn't give up on that person. And don't ever let them, and I'm not saying that you're angry, but don't ever let them know that you're angry or frustrated. Just be polite and smile, because they will circle back to you as if nothing ever happened. And what you
Okay.
want to say is, what the hell, you know? But
Yeah, 'cause I was just like, okay, well, that's awkward.
Sure.
I just didn't know how to bounce back from that. I didn't know if I should just,
no, keep bouncing, just stay in there.
thank you.
Yep. Anyone else?
Howie, I have another question. What's the best kind of the material to put on the open house? Is it the property that has been sold in the area, loan information, what is available active and sold in that area? What is the best thing to take? What do you take when you go to open house?
Don't do any of that. It just gets too confusing. It's too much information. I want them to know about my house.
Uh-huh.
If they want other information, I will give it to them, but I don't keep other printouts of.
Oh,
I got vendors ask me, hey, can I sit your open house with you? I'm like, no, thank you. I don't need you there. I don't want you there. I don't want you talking about, you know, I'm not a control freak, but I do want to be in control of the open house. So I don't have other information. I know the information, and that's what I said before about doing your homework, you know, knowing what's going on in the neighborhood so you can talk about it. Rhonda said, you know, maybe bring some printouts of other things that have sold, but I don't really do that.
Mhm.
But know the information, John. Be aware of what's going on in the neighborhood.
Okay, thank you.
How about Kathy Cameron? Kathy, any questions? Kathy Cameron, going once? Well, guys, thank you for letting me talk for an hour and a half. And if you ever have any questions, give me a shout, call me. I'm always happy to help. Okay, thank you. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you so
Thank you.
much.
For this.
Oh, yeah.
Great. I'm sorry that you were sitting there.
No, I'm usually very.